Welcome to the Dropping Gems con Muchos Colores podcast. I am your host, Arely Lagunas. This is an audio community where we own and share our stories as trailblazer moms, crafting a unique and meaningful work lifestyle, leading with passion, breaking barriers, and chasing bold dreams on our own terms. Celebrating our Latina motherhood voices to bring you genuine insights of the highs, the lows, and in-betweens of working moms from a first-gen Latina lens. We don't have to travel this journey alone. Let's get started. Luz Canino-Baker is the founder and president of Latinas on the Plaza, a non-for-profit organization that helps girls and women of color with a strong target for Latina women find their power so that they can be strong and confident at work, at home, and in the communities they serve. Luz is also an international certified coach and author. Her first book, Designing Your Life Plan, helps one to intentionally plan life with a 5-year forecast in mind. She is also an author in the volume series Today's Inspired Latina. Luz is a proven business leader with experiences in corporate and nonprofit sectors. After a successful 28-year career in banking, where she spent the greater part of her career at First National Bank of Chicago, Bank One, now JPMorgan Chase, Luz took her innovative leadership skills to the nonprofit sector in February of 2007. As a result, she started her own business in 2007, LNC Coaching, LLC. The core services include executive life group retreat coaching. Luz holds a Bachelor of Science degree in management from DePaul University and an MBA from the University of Chicago. Luz has received the Reflejos Reflecting Excellence Award. She also was honored with the Suburban Life Magazine's Women of Distinction Award and the Diversity and Inclusion Ambassador of the Year Award from UCAN. She is one of the Chicago's United Business Leaders of Color and one of top 100 under 50 leaders awarded by Diversity MBA Magazine. So we're thrilled to have Luz Canino-Baker on our show, and I'm really excited and proud to say that Luz was one of my first mentors and coaches who I was introduced to. And I'm really honored to have Luz on the podcast show because she is a tremendous leader. She's been a person that is very knowledgeable, and I love that she is a leader, and I'm so happy to have her here today.
Well, thank you for being on the show today. I can't wait to chat with you today, Luz.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to be able to catch up with you on live. For the audience that is listening to us, I had the great opportunity to meet you a couple years ago, and I am excited to hear what you're up to and all the wisdom and gems that you will be sharing with our audience. So can you please share with us why this month is important to you, and talking about the month of April, which really is special because it's Financial Literacy Month. Can you share with our listeners why managing money effectively is crucial for the Latina community and the women community?
Yeah, so thank you. It's funny because I didn't actually plan it to be for the Financial Literacy Month, but that's cool that happened that way. But I guess more from a personal perspective, I meet a lot of women who are Latinas, and they talk about, wanting to learn how to trade, and it became like a constant theme. So as I was venturing on what my next mastermind group would be tackling, I thought, well, let's do it on that. Let's teach women how to trade. So there's some interesting stats that really is the driving force for this beyond just the personal interaction with women, and I'll just share just a few of those. So this is from 2019, like December 2019. There was an article that said that most Americans lack savings. So this is not only like Latina moms. This is like people in general, right? American people in general. 70% of people have less than $1,000 in savings. Can you imagine? That's pretty dangerous. 40% of U.S. households where the head of household is between the ages of 35 and 64, it says they will run out of money before they retire. And 75% of Americans will run out of money before they die. 1 in 5 Americans don't save for retirement or emergencies. So none of that is good news. This is like considered to be really grim, almost frightening news. So we need to do something about this.
Yes, and another bad news going with what you said is that all these statistics you mentioned was already bad before the pandemic. So even with the pandemic happening, it just made it worse. And especially right now in today's economic climate, we need to learn how to effectively manage our money, our resources, and what you're going to be presenting is a tool, that we can learn about, especially for, I want to say for women, because it's something that, in my experience and based what I've read is that we haven't had this type of information in the past, especially coming from another woman, right? We normally hear it from men, and it's a topic that it's newer to women, but not because we can't do it. It's just that, for some reason, it's always been that way. So can you share some insights into some of the common barriers or mindsets that prevent women from effectively managing their finances and building wealth?
So I love statistics. So there was another stat around that said that although women make, we're the ones buying, we're out there in the marketplace, we're making 85% of the consumer purchases. We have great insight into what's happening into the market. As you said, the guys are better investors than we are. The article that I read says that women think about money very differently. You've heard this. Just cut back on your latte, like do your own nails, like color your own hair, which we should never do. Like we're going to save or make money that way. But men don't think about that. Men are out there looking at what are the investment opportunities that they can grab onto. We as women, we need to start thinking about and learning about these investment opportunities, because you're not gonna save money by not having the latte that you want to have. Drink the latte.
Yes.
Use other forms of investment to really grow your wealth.
Yes. And you know what I love about our conversation too, going to what you said, we need to learn how to do this, but I love that we're having this conversation, and especially in the month of April. But another statistic, because I'm also very data oriented like you, I know you love data and statistics, but what's really alarming too is that women by data are meant to live longer. So that means we need to plan, right, to live longer, because by data, we are going to outlive our spouses most of the time. So that's why I also love having these conversations, because it's all about learning. And as we know, knowledge is power.
The data does support that women will outlive men. So why not, which should put an urgency, and I don't care what age you are, if you're not running your finances in your home, or you're not aware of the finances in your home, you need to become aware of them, because if your spouse passes for whatever reason, because nobody's promised tomorrow, you know where everything is. You know where the savings account, the checking account, the investment accounts are. So yeah, it's critical to know that stuff.
Yes. Can you share with us, how does your mastermind program help address these topics and challenges?
Yeah, so generally, the way a mastermind group works is it's a group of like-minded individuals, and in my case, it's a group of like-minded women, like all of your audience, and my audience as well. They're very similar. Um, we get together on a monthly basis for about an hour and a half. Sometimes it does go into 2 hours. And we start out with a particular book, which is a topic that runs the gamut. So, for example, I just finished the mastermind group a month ago, and we learned all about leadership because leadership is my forte. So every month we did a chapter in the book, but it's not a book club. So a mastermind is that there is brain power in each person that is part of the group, so that, look, I'm just a facilitator. We're getting the ideas and learning from each other and holding one another accountable. So that's kind of the beauty of a mastermind group. This particular mastermind groups that's starting April 24th is called my 12-month mastermind program. And it's really going to be all about investing, understanding how women can understand investments, even to the point of, I hope to get some of them to actually make a trade, even if it's just one stock for $25. Because I believe once you start trading and you see your success, it will spur you on to invest more. Like, that's what happened to me. I was afraid until I did it.
Luz, can you share with our audience, or if you can outline some of the key lessons that will be included in your 12 weeks mastermind, and
Yes.
how it specifically caters to women?
So the book that we're following for the 12 steps is Miss Independent by Nicole Lapin. And it says a simple 12-step plan to start investing and grow your own wealth. So Nicole is, I would describe her as a fiery woman who really believes that women need to understand the investment world in a very simple way. That we need to understand the terminology and that we can do this. So what we're going to be doing over the next 12 months, starting April till 12 months from that, is taking one chapter a month. This is going to be the main tool. So the women will read that one chapter in advance. Then we get together for an hour and a half to 2 hours where we share what we know, right? It's not just a book club. So, for example, module number 1, our first session is really beyond getting to know one another. We're going to really examine, like, what is our current financial state, like find your power. So in order to find your power, first of all, you need to understand where you currently are, like how much money do you have? Like, where does your money go? We're going to move into the second module, which is really like, what do you dream about having? So for example, when I was a single mother and I met for the first time with my financial planner, she said, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Well, I want to put my kids through college where they don't have to have debt. I want to have a second home for vacationing." Like, I was just listing out all these things, like, dreamland. And so she helped me do that. So that's another chapter. And then we're going to really, by the time that we get through chapter 12, we're actually going to go into some of those trading systems like E-Trade and Charles Schwab, which are the ones that I use, and whatever else the other women use. So we're going to be sharing, like, where we're at in this journey and learning how to do it and pushing one another to learn how to do it and do it.
Yes, it's very important, it's actually a good gateway to my next question. I know in the beginning you talked about the mastermind leveraging the other individuals in the mastermind. Can you elaborate the importance of leveraging their power and experiences in a group setting? You know, that's very important. And I think it's one of the highlights of this mastermind is just that sharing with others that are on the same or similar journey. If you can elaborate a little bit of how that makes it even more, I want to say like a strong program and something that will be beneficial.
Yeah, so the individuals in the group are going to be at different levels. So I've had women in my mastermind groups for over 3 years. Those women are coming back, like they're excited about this. And I can tell you, even with just the small group that I've had, myself, I've traded, there's another woman in the group that started trading this year. There's another group, a woman in the group that's been talking about trading, but she hasn't done it yet. So we're all going to be coming from different perspectives when it comes to investing. And so we're going to create like this safe zone where you can easily say, I have no idea what a bond is. What's a mutual fund? Because I think part of what keeps women away from investing is that they know, even myself, like when I joined Charles Schwab earlier this year, I was like, I need to prepare. I don't want that man to look at me like I don't know investments. Like I actually did some pre-work so that when I walked in there, I didn't look like someone who has never invested anything, right? That I can understand them. And that's actually what Nicole talks about, that some of these in brokerage houses, they intimidate you with the terminology of the investment world. So like I said, she simplifies how to do that. And then once you're with our group, you're going to feel very comfortable to say, hey, Luz, I don't understand that. And then if I understand it, because like I said, now I'm with Charles Schwab or I use E-Trade, I can easily say, well, this has been my experience. Obviously, we're not giving any trading advice. We're not financial traders, but we're going to share our experiences.
That is great. Thank you for elaborating on that. You talked a little bit of mindsets, right? Is there anything that you would consider are some key mindset shifts for women in order for them to start building a path to financial independence or financial success?
Yeah, so I think we as women, like we want the best for our family, right? We want our children to go to college. We don't want them to have debt. We don't want to be living with debt, right? So we have these desires and wants that are good for our families, but we don't most women, I would say, don't go above and beyond to make that happen. So there's actually another study that I was looking at, and it said that we spend, and this doesn't only apply to women, but it does apply to all of us. We spend more time on other things versus personal finances. It said, in fact, Americans spend less than 2 minutes a day managing their finances. So we'd rather 2 minutes.
Wow.
And the rest of the stuff, like watching TV, almost 3 hours per day, sleeping, obviously we need the 8 hours. They added all these hours up, and it said, if you do the math, the average American spends more than 85 hours a month watching TV. That's time that we could be spending learning how to invest. So it's really about developing a new process, because this takes effort. And Billy, I'm an ex-banker. I don't like finance. Mm-hmm. I really don't like finance. But I realize that I want to make more money. Like I want to retire comfortably. So in order for that to happen, because I'm the one that manages the money in the house, I need to know how to do it. So I got to let go of that mindset that, oh, I'll let just my husband do it. He's too busy to do it, and he really doesn't want to do it. So if I don't do it, then who's going to do it? No one. So I think it's a shift in our minds to really know that you can do it as a woman, but you got to apply yourself to do it.
Yes. And especially because, again, it's all over, it's written all over, right? We have so much buying power. So why not leverage that power?
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's funny that you say it because I love Costco. Like I love Costco. I
Uh-huh.
try not to go in there as much because I always spend a ton of money when I go in there. But if you look at the parking lot, like it's always full, right?
Hmm.
Every single day, like people are waiting for the doors to open. So I'm like, yeah, I should invest in Costco.
Yeah.
So I remember, I don't know what it's at right now. I think I bought it when it was like at $300 a share. And I've made like I didn't buy a lot. Maybe I
Hmm.
bought 2 or 3 shares,
Hmm.
and it's like at $500 or $600 right now, right?
Hmm.
Because I shop there.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So
Costco.
we have a lot of insight, and we should use that. I think that's kind of like the Warren Buffett method as well. So, take what you know and invest in that.
Hmm. Definitely. We spoke about some of the factors that influence the mindset of us women, right? Um, how how would you say for those that may feel intimidated or apprehensive, or even sometimes overwhelmed by the idea of taking that first step, taking control of their finances, what advice or encouragement would you offer to help take that first step?
Yeah, so I actually want to introduce your audience, to a book that I just heard about this week, and I think it's just fantastic. So it's called Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg. And you can see podcasts or something on YouTube, I don't recall. But what he talks about, and the reason I just learned about it, but I've been doing this, so it's like, oh my God, this is interesting. So he talks about tiny habits. So if you want to start investing and then start really understanding, you're going to have to start very, very slow. So, for example, what I started to do about a year ago was I made Thursday, I call it Thursday's my money day.
Mhm.
So I write it on my calendar, right over Thursday, I write money. And so what does that mean? That means that I need to, on that day, think about money, do some research on money, look at my accounts,
Mhm.
and it might take 15 minutes, it might take 30 minutes. But it is the day that I really think about money. I don't really think about, I mean, I think about it a lot, right? But I don't think about it so much during like a Monday. I know, oh, you know what, on Thursday, my money day, I'm going to research that. So I would say start with 20 minutes, put it on your calendar. Like, I'm going to take 20 minutes to maybe look at a YouTube or a podcast. Nicole Layton, Nicole, what did I say her name was? Laypin has a podcast called Money Rehab. Just select one thing. Don't tell yourself, oh my God, I got to learn about stocks, bonds, mutual funds, insurance. Take one thing, 20 minutes this week, learn. And then maybe next week you say, you know what, next week I'm going to do 25 minutes. I mean, he says tiny, tiny steps. And I know just from experience that once you do it, you will you will see the success. Like I said, when I bought the Costco stock and I saw it go up, I'm like, oh, I can do this. Like I
Mhm.
can actually buy a share of stock and see that it's growing versus having somebody else manage my money. So if that helps, I would say make a tiny habit.
Great suggestion. And we'll definitely put it in the show notes, the books that you recommend. And I'll definitely put that on my list to read as well. So, as you know, this is also a podcast for the Latina community. And I know that you are a mom. So, one thing that caught my attention from the beginning was when you mentioned that you met with your financial planner. One of your goals was to get your kids through college, right? Is there anything you want to share about your motherhood journey and kind of like what are the top things you like to do with your kids, who I know they're now adults, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was a single mom, for 11 years of three children, and immediately upon getting a divorce, my biggest worry became like, how am I going to provide financially for these children? I was a banker at the time. I didn't have a six-figure salary. I think I was making $50,000, somewhere around that. So I actually met with a financial planner. She's still my financial planner, even though I do manage a lot of my own money. She's still my financial planner. And I sat down with her and I said, listen, I would like my kids to go to college. And I don't want them to get debt, right? I'm not giving them anything other than 4 years. They want a master's degree, PhD, that's up to them. But for me, I want to guarantee that I can give them 4 years at college. So she said, well, let's open up some 529s. And I didn't even know what a 529 was. So she introduced me to a 529, and I'm like, listen, I don't make a lot of money. She said, we could start really small, withdrawing from your paycheck, like $25 a month for each account. Honestly, and you know how they say automatic withdrawals, you completely forget about those things. Like, I completely forgot they were taking $25. And
Mm-hmm.
lo and behold, when it was time for my kids to go to college, thank God, I had the 529s, and my kids, all three of them, did not have to borrow any money for 4 years. They walked out of the schools owing nothing. That was my gift to them. So if you have children, I would say start early. Like now, you can set aside $10, $15, $25, whatever it is for each child. I'm not saying you have to get a 529. There's other tools out there. There's College Illinois and a bunch of other things that you might consider. But you need to start now and just have the money taken out and kind of forget about it. So I'm really happy that I was able to give that to my children. And yes, my children are now older. The youngest is in her 30s. The oldest is 40, just turned 44. What we do as a family is the third Sunday of each month, we have a family dinner. So that includes all of and I have a blended family, so I have five altogether now, plus all my grandkids. So it's like 20 people get together every 3 weeks in my house, and we have a dinner, and we play games, and the kids run around our house like crazy. But actually, we started this in 2020 during the pandemic. We started it via Zoom because it was like, oh my God, how long is this going to last that we're not going to see each other? Yeah. So it went from Zooms to live, and I didn't think my kids, like, I don't force them. I don't say you have to come, but now they come. So I think you also have to be intentional about keeping your family together. Because we can all get so busy, and then it becomes like you only see them on Christmas and Thanksgiving, and that would be horrible, horrible. So that's kind of what I do with my family now.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. And also great to hear that, something really great came out of the pandemic, which has now become like a tradition for you.
Yes, absolutely.
As we wrap the episode, I just want to share that it's evident that managing money effectively is not just about numbers, but also about empowerment, security, and paving the way for a brighter future, especially for women. And I'm really excited to hear about your mastermind that addresses some of these unique challenges faced by women and how it can be a tailored solution and also a supportive community to do this with others. And I know for a lot of us, right, it might be daunting to take like the first step, but I do feel that with the right guidance, support, and education, financial empowerment is within reach for everyone that is willing to be coachable and to learn, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you for sharing this wonderful opportunity with our audio community, and for the listeners for tuning in. Is there anything else you want to share about the upcoming mastermind program that starts on April 24th?
Yeah, no.
And then also, if you can please share more information about the mastermind program and your contact information to follow you.
Yeah, so it's April 24th. We meet in the evening, usually start about 6 o'clock, so that you have time to get home. If you're local, I generally run my mastermind group in my home and I make dinner. So I make dinner for those that come to my home. Or if you're just going to be participating via Zoom, that's also okay. You could be anywhere to participate. But this is, it's like getting together in somebody's home, or occasionally we might meet in my office in Brookfield. So you do have to sign up for it. There is a slight, I think it's a very inexpensive cost of $480 for 12 sessions. Like, that's such a deal. You can purchase that at my stand.store /Luz Canino-Baker. Please do that before the 24th, because you have to purchase Nicole's book. There's some pre-work. So I look forward to being in a group, learning from you, because I'm also learning from those participants in the group, and really taking our journey to wealth together. So thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Dropping Gems con Muchos Colores podcast. We have a new episode every month. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to leave a review and subscribe so you don't miss a beat. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.